let's go ahead and get started with the Kahoot. All right, here we go. Which of the following values can be held by a Boolean variable in Python? Well done, everyone. We are able to hold true with a capital T in our Boolean variables. Python uses a capital T true rather than a lowercase t true. Good job. All right, in first place, we have Goomba by 10 entire points. All right, true or false? Look at this code. What's going to be printed? If A is true and B is false, and I print A and B, will be true or false. All right, what value will and give us, or when will and give us the true value? When will and say true?
When they're both true.
When both of the values are true. Are A and B both true here?
No.
So A and B is going to give us false. Top 5 shaken up. All right, true or false? A is true, B is false. A or B. Is that true or false? All right, well done, everyone. A or B, true or false, is going to be true because or will give us true when at least one of our two values is true. Right, true or false? Let's look at this code. A is true, and I print not A. All right, well done, everyone. Not is pretty self-explanatory. It will give us the opposite of what we give it. So we gave it true, it'll give us back false.
Yo, Mr. Mack, then let me into the Zoom room for the longest period of time. So sorry I was late.
That is A-okay. Thank you for letting me know. All right, true or false? Look at this code. What will it give us? A is 5, B is 10. Print A equals B. Is that true or false? Well done, everyone. That is definitely not true. 5 is not equal to 10, so we're going to get false from that. All right, another one. A equals 5, B equals 10. Print A less than B. True or false? All right, we are on a roll. Well done, everyone. 5 is, in fact, less than 10, so this will give us true. All right, and that's all been warm up for this. A equals 10, B equals 20, C equals 0. Print A equals B, or C does not equal 0. Is that true or false? All right, so let's break this down. We've got two conditions, or two comparisons. Is A equal to B here? A is not equal to B, so that's false. Is C not equal to 0? Also, no, C is equal to 0. So we're going to get false or false, which is going to give us false. So this question is going to be much closer to what you'll see on the actual quiz than anything we've seen before, because we're all just ramping up to this. So this is very similar to a question you might see on the quiz, doing some combination of comparison and logical operators. Kavya takes the lead. All right, which of these is not a required part of an if statement? Else, if, condition, or body? All right, absolutely correct. I do not need an else when I am building an if statement. I do need an if, I do need a condition, and I need something to happen for that if statement, but I don't need an else for an if statement to work. All right. With that in mind, can an else statement exist without an if? And it else cannot exist without an if to be tied to. Just, it doesn't make sense for me to say, or else I will send you to the principal's office because I haven't told you what you're not supposed to do, or else you'll be sent to the principal's office. So you have to know some condition before you can break that condition, before you can not have that condition occur. So an if can exist without an else cannot exist without an if. Top 5 staying strong. All right, how many elif statements can you attach to a single if statement? There's no limit. Elif doesn't exist, so 0, 5 at the most, or only 1. All right, well done, everyone. There is no limit to the number of elifs that you can attach to one if. However, if I have a bunch of if, elif, 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 else, how many of those within a single chain are able to run each time my program executes?
One.
Only one, exactly. So within a large chain of if, else, elif, 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 else, you can only have one of those things run. It's a branching path. You can only go down one path. So just keep that in mind when you're building your programs. Top 5 looking the same. Right, when will the body of an else statement run? When the condition for the else is true, when the condition for the else is false, when the condition for the if is true, or when the condition for the if is false. That's shuffled into a very convenient order. All right, so when I use an else, do I need to give a condition for the else? No, you do not. Else is always going to run when the condition for the if above it is false. So else doesn't need a condition in the first place, so red and blue are definitely disqualified. And when the condition for the if is true, that's when the if runs, and we can't run both the if and the else, so that one's also disqualified. Would you believe me if I told you that this was the shuffled order? I got the else's on top, the ifs on the bottom, the true on the left, and the false on the right. It's perfect. I couldn't have done it better myself. Good job, shuffler. All right, question 12. What list of numbers will be created by range 4? Will I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3? All right, when I only use one number, I'm going to start my counting at 0, and I'm going to have that number of numbers that I create. So I'm going to make 4 numbers starting at 0. So here I'm starting at 0. I have 4 numbers, which means I'm going to stop one short of the number that I put there. Top 5 shift loop again. All right, what list of numbers will be created by range 4, 8? Will it be 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? All right, well done. When I have 2 numbers, I've got my start and I've got my end. My start will be included, and we are gonna not include our end just like before. We're never gonna include that end number. All right, top 5 sticking like it was. All right, what list of numbers will be created by the range 3, 9, 3? We'll get 3, 6, 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0, 3, 6, or 3, 6. All right, well done. When I say I want to start at some number, I want to start at 3, go until I hit 9, and I want to increase my value by 3 each time. So we're going to start at 3. It's going to give us one of red, blue, or green. If I want to increase my number by 3 each time, that narrows it down to red and green. And if I say my ending number is 9, I'm never ever going to include that ending number. So not red includes the number 9, so it is not going to be true. So we're left with 3 and 6. This code, how many lines of output will there be? All right, so let's do a little bit of math. So what values will I produce with my range 1, 4?
1 through 3.
1 through 3. So we make 1, 2, and 3, which is a total of 3 numbers. What values am I going to get from my range 2?
0 and 1.
0 and 1, which is a total of 2 numbers. So what do I have to do with this information to find how many lines are going to be printed?
Multiply.
We're going to multiply the number of times each loop will run, and 3 times 2 is going to give us 6. So if we think about what this output will look like, we're going to repeat the output 0, 1 3 times. So we'll get 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, right? Because we're going to print the value of j each time in our loop. All right. Top 5 spots staying the same. And second and third place are separated by 3 points. Very close. All right, consider this code. What is it going to output? All right, if my total equals 0 for I in range 2, 6, total plus equals I, print total. Well, I see 8, 0, 14, or there's an error and the code won't run. All right, so if we think about our range 2, 6, we're going to make 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to start here, stop right before we hit 6. And each time, we're going to make our total variable increase by the value of I. So since we start at 0, we're essentially going to say 0 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. And if we do that addition, that's going to equal 14. Does that make sense how we calculate that number out? All right, sweet. Top 2 spots are shifting up, or the second and third flip-flopping. All right, when will a while loop stop looping? Is it when the exact moment its condition becomes true, the exact moment its condition becomes false, when the condition is true when it's checked, or when the condition is false when it's checked? So, a while loop will only stop looping when you check its condition. So if I have a while loop, let's say I have a variable x equals 0 while x equals 0. If I have 2 lines of code in this loop saying x equals 1 and then x equals 0, is it possible for this loop to end? It's not, because even though my condition becomes false on this line, I have to finish executing the whole body of my loop before I go up and check my condition again. So before I check my condition, I'm going to reset x to equal 0, and my condition will still be true when I check it. So we have to make sure that our condition is false when we check it for our loop to actually be able to come to a close. Ooh, top 3 shaken up. All right, when is a while loop most useful? Is it they're never useful? When I want to repeat some code a specific number of times, when I want to make a single decision, or when I want to repeat something but I don't know how many times? Well done. What do I want to use when I want to repeat some code a specific number of times?
For.
I'd use a for loop for that. And then what do I use when I want to make one decision?
If.
That's going to be an if statement. So for a while loop, that's when we want to have something happen over and over again, but we don't know how many times that's going to be. We just know we want it to repeat until some condition is met. All right, top 5 looking pretty strong there. And our last question, if a break is run in a loop, what happens? Does the condition become false? Is the rest of the body skipped and the running resuming after the loop? Is the rest of the body skipped and running jumps to the top of the loop? Or nothing happens at all? Yes, when I use a break, when I run a break, I can use a break in either a while loop or a for loop. And since for loops don't have a condition, that answer doesn't really make sense. And it's not even true in a while loop. Well, the condition could still be true, but the loop will still end, will still exit the loop. So we skip the rest of the body and we jump to after the loop. We do not continue looping. We do not pass go. The loop is now over. All right, let's look at our results, our podium. In third place, we have Kavya. In second place, we have Sunny. And in first place, we have Mary. Congratulations to the three of you. Well done. In fourth and fifth, we have Sad Face, Happy Face, and Min. Actually, no, that's just double sad face. Never mind. Well done, everyone. Congratulations.
Hey, I'm sad.
I'm sorry that your tab closed out, Benjamin, but I'm sorry. All right. So let's just take a gander at our study guide real quick. Would you guys like me to go over the Booleans, logical operators, comparison operators? Do you want me to cover that? Or do you feel that you understand that well? Do you want to answer, William, or are you just unmuted? Okay. So I will give a very brief discussion. Logical operators, those are our, someone back in. That's our and, or, and not. Those work on Booleans, so you need a Boolean on both sides of them for them to work correctly. Or with a not, it just needs to be on the one side. And they will produce a Boolean as well. So they will both use and produce Booleans. And just if you're given a sequence of logical operators on the quiz, you should be able to figure out how it or what it produces. Our comparison operators, we have double equals, checking if things are the same. Exclamation point equals, checking if things are not the same. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Those will work with any data type that we've learned about. So we can use a string, we can use an int, we can use a float, whatever we want, we can compare on the two sides of our equalses. And they will also always produce a Boolean value, whether our comparison was met or whether it was not met. And if you are given a combination of logical and comparison operators, you should be able to find whether it'll result in true or false. If I say not, let's say A or B, what is that equivalent to? Who remembers that?
Not A and not B.
Equals not A and not B, correct. So we get not A and not B. So just remember that interaction, how not works with an and or an or. You're gonna distribute the not to your pieces and you're gonna flip the sign. It'll go from or to and, or from and to or, whichever way. Scroll down. we use for loops when we know how many times we want to repeat something, right? Our three different ways to use the range. Way number one is with just the end number, which is going to give us a sequence of numbers going from 0 through end minus 1. Way number two is going to be start and end. What sequence of numbers will that give me?
Start to end minus 1.
Start through n minus 1. And way number three, we have start, end, and step, which is going to be the same as above, except we are going to increase by step each time. What do I do to calculate a running total with a for loop?
What do you mean running total?
So if I wanted to say for I in range 5, what if I want to find the sum of all of the values produced by that range? What do I have to do?
And you have a variable like total, and then you do total plus equals I.
So we start our total above, we say total plus equals I. Exactly. So we need a separate variable outside of our loop so that we can update it each time we go through our loop. All right, and then when I have a for loop inside of another for loop, the inside one is always going to do all of its loops before the outside one increments its iterator, before the outside one gets its next value. If you'd like me to focus on any one of these points, please stop me and I will go back and talk more. All right, random number generation. If I want to use the random module, what do I need to do at the top of my program?
Import random.
Import random. And that will allow us to actually use our three functions here. What information does the randint function need to work correctly, and what does it give us?
I might be wrong, but I think it gives you need two numbers in like a start and an end, and it'll give a number between those two numbers.
Yeah, so we need a minimum value and a maximum value, and it will give us a random number in between those two values. Is it inclusive of these two values? Yes. So min is included and max is included in our randint. Unlike in range, both of these values will be included. What does random.choice need?
It makes a choice from a list.
So it makes a choice from a list. So it needs, the information it needs is a list of choices, and it will give us one of the things out of that list. And then does random.random need anything to run? Nope. And what will that one give us?
A random float
Mm-hmm.
between
random
0
float.
and 1.
Between 0 and 1. Is 0 included in that?
Yes.
Yes. Is 1 included in that?
No.
It is not. So we're going to generate a random number on our number line, 0 and 1. And we're not going to include 1. Right? So it could be anywhere within this line, but it will never actually equal 1. While loops. At what point in our program is the condition for the while loop checked?
When it first hits the while loop, and then when the rest of the body of the while loop is done running.
Exactly. So when we first encounter the while loop, we have to check our condition. And then after the body of the while loop has completed, we jump back up to the top and check our condition again. At no other point will our condition be checked. So we need to make sure that we actually have that condition able to be false when we check it. A while loop stops looping when its condition is false when we check it. We also kind of just answered that question. If the condition becomes false in the middle, it will not skip the rest of the body. And then last, we have our break and continue. When we run a break, this was a Kahoot question, we will completely exit the loop, skip the rest of your body, do not collect $200 from pass and go, none of that stuff. You exit the loop completely, it's over. When I run continue, what happens?
Goes back to the top and checks the condition again.
It goes back up to the top, and if we're in a while loop, it checks the condition. And if we're in a for loop, the iterator is going to take on its next value. So where within a loop should each of these take place? Should I just have a break in the middle of my loop without anything around it?
No, you want an if statement.
We're pretty much always going to want those inside of an if statement because we don't always want to end our loop. We only want our loop to end under certain scenarios. So usually held in an if. All right. Any other questions about anything on the study guide? Anything we might talk about on the unit quiz? All good? Sweet. All right. That is our review day. I will stop my share. I will stop recording.